So yesterday, my neighbor texted me and said, "Hey, my AC is not keeping up." And so I went over there after my job and found system low on gas. His house is built exactly the same time as mine, same builder. They just built the two together. I did my own heating and air. They used a local Daikin dealer to put in a Daikin unit for him. Well, the unit's low on gas. I said, well, probably the best thing for you to do is to give them a call in the morning and have them come out. They'll probably be in a better position to process the warranty. The leak's probably in your coil. But the other reason why I told him to do that is because I just wanted to see what they would do and how they would handle it. And today, he just knocked on my door, gave me a 12-pack of Guinness beer as a payment for my diagnosis. But he said they came in there, they put about 4 pounds of gas in it, put some dye in it, and said if it stops cooling again, let us know. They didn't even go up into the attic. They just hooked up gauges, low on gas, put dye in, gas and go. This is a coil that is less than 2 years old that they put in, and they weren't even willing to take it that step further and say, hey, you know, we got a leaking coil here, or wherever the leak is. It was probably in the coil, but let's try to find the leak and let's replace this coil under warranty. Obviously, the labor warranty may not be in place. Instead, they did a gas and go. Didn't fix anything. It's going to happen again. And I got just to thinking about how companies run, especially when we get here in the end of May. Everybody's really, really busy. Everybody's firing up the air conditioning system. It's not working. We're running a ton of calls. I remember when I ran my contracting business, end of May was just like, you didn't even have time to think. You're working long hours trying to catch all these calls. But one of the reasons why we have to catch all these calls sometimes is because we're not fixing anything to begin with. That company is going to get another service call on that unit because they didn't fix anything. Instead of just going through the right procedure, leak testing the system, and locating where the leak is and resolving the leak, they opted for just the quick gas and go and move on to the next coil. And I think that's just how technicians get burned out. It's how companies plateau out in their profitability, and nobody learns anything. And you haven't done the customer any good other than charge them a few $100, maybe even $1,000 to get them temporarily going on a unit that is less than 2 years old. It's just sad that the company that actually installed it didn't take that extra step. In fact, it's not even the extra step. It's the step that you should have taken to begin with. When you have a leak, you find the leak, you fix the leak, especially on a system that's practically brand new. You don't just gas and go. And I just got to thinking about how most companies run like that, where they're just running and gunning, doing service calls, band-aiding systems, getting things up and running, and they're not actually fixing any problems long term. One of the reasons is they have way too many calls on the books. But one of the reasons why they have so many calls on the books is because they're not actually fixing anything. They're doing a bunch of gas and goes. The other reason why we have so many calls on the books is because we're not doing predictive maintenance. We're sending kids out there to clean coils and change filters and do the bare minimum of visual inspections, and we're not catching that capacitor or that contactor that could fail later on. We're not putting the system into MeasureQuick and letting MeasureQuick tell us in the middle of March that yes, the system is actually low on gas, but you won't actually realize that until early June when it actually gets hot, and then you have to come back out there. So we're doing ourselves a disfavor by running maintenance and service calls this way. I don't think in the long run, those extra service calls that we're running to then band-aid the unit further, I don't think that's that profitable. We're certainly not impressing the client very much. And if we're just running a bunch of $300 service calls, all we're doing is burning ourselves out for very little gain. Now, I realize that my business is more on the consulting side, but I still, when I run a service call, try to simulate things as if I was a traditional service contracting business, because I want to be able to still feel those pain points, to be able to advise service contracting companies and be able to train them better. And I keep coming back to the importance of doing full system assessments. I have a 50-point assessment that I do every call, every time. Obviously, I didn't do that yesterday with my next door neighbor because that wasn't a service call that I ran through my business. It was just me and flip-flops helping my neighbor out. But normally when I'm charging for a service call, my basic diagnostic fee is $2.99. And I plan on being there at least 2 hours. And no, that $2.99 is not covering me for the 2 hours. It's still a loss leader. But it allows me to do that thorough 50-point assessment so that I find not only what broke today, but also what might break down tomorrow, and maybe what was never done right in the first place. And I don't run 8-10 service calls a day. The max I may run in a day is 3. If it's a really busy day and I'm working overtime, it might be 4. But slowing down and doing better maintenance and doing better diagnostics, yes, that will mean fewer service calls, but the few service calls that you do run are going to be profitable. Now, I get it. The companies that are already established have hundreds, if not thousands, of service agreements, and they have to get those done. And to be able to transition from that model to the less is more, quality over quantity in service call model, I get that that is very difficult. There are companies that have done that, but the owner and everybody on the team has to be committed to doing that. I don't think that you want to try to do that unless you are committed to stay the course and take it all the way. But I want to hear what you think. Do you think that the running 8 to 10 service calls in the summer model works? Do you think it's the only way possible? Do you think it's the only way possible for a smaller company and only the bigger companies can do that less is more approach? So let me know what you think. Comment below. Thanks for watching. And as always, work safe.